everyone. Welcome to Manage Engine OpUtils free training. Here is the agenda for the day. So first, let's see what OpUtils is. In this part, we'll cover an overview of the product, and in the next part, let's discuss how OpUtils helps navigate through modern IT challenges, where we'll talk about OpUtils capabilities in detail, and finally, we will discuss why OpUtils is a good choice for your network. So with that being said, let's get started with what is OpUtils right away. So OpUtils is a comprehensive IP address management and switchport mapping solution that comes built in with a lot of capabilities that will help network administrators understand the network address space in the modern IT infrastructure. What comes to your mind when I say IP address manager tool? Spreadsheets or basic IPAM tools, right? So although these simple tools have been effective in the past, they no longer meet the growing demands of the network, especially when it comes to modern IT infrastructures and its distributed network, because we need to manage and discover address spaces across subnets, supernets, remote sites, data centers, etc. With the help of OpUtils, you can easily manage IPv4 and IPv6 addresses and automate end-to-end scanning that will provide you with real-time data insights. So this comprehensive IP address manager tool will simplify IP address management by helping you track critical metrics like availability, utilization of the IP addresses by displaying it all in a centralized dashboard. So we also have over 30 comprehensive network toolsets that will help you carry out day-to-day network tasks in just few clicks. So you'll need not invest in a lot of tools and keep correlating data across many small tools. So OpUtils offers detailed reports, and the proactive alerts generated by the tool will help you resolve the issues quickly. A notable aspect of OpUtils is that it is easy to deploy. You can get started on OpUtils in a few minutes by discovering your IP resources into OpUtils. And another best part is that it's affordable, it is easy to use, and it will help you reduce manual work for your network admins. So I believe this clearly would have given you a small overview of OpUtils. Now let's see how OpUtils helps with IT. Before that, let's take a look at the capabilities of OpUtils that stands out from the other IPAM tools in the market. The different modules we'll be looking at today are the IP address manager module, switchport mapper, rogue detection tool, network toolset, schedules, reports, alarms, and let's also talk about user management. So let's get started with OpUtils IP address manager without any further delay. But before that, before we get into the module in detail, let's pause for a moment and understand why do we need an IP address manager solution in the first place. Of course, it replaces all your basic tools and helps you manage your IP address space effectively. However, is that the only reason? Okay, let's see the other reasons in the next slide. There are different tools in the market that you can use to monitor your network address space, like SNMP tools, CLI queries, etc. However, when it comes to using these tools, there are a lot of backlogs generated while monitoring your IP address space. The IPAM module in OpUtils helps you eliminate such backlogs and the human errors involved, by automating the subnet discovery, the IP data collection, and it also helps you manage the status of the IPs in real time. So managing an IP database is not an easy task, as it will require the network admins to check the real-time status of the IPs and update it in the tool. This is time-consuming and it requires a lot of manual work and can lead to human errors. So as network administrators, you always have to make sure that your IP database is updated real-time. And OpUtils IPAM module can help you achieve that by automating your IP data collection, and it will also help you automate the status changes of the IPs in real time. Another use of automating IP data collection is that you get a single source of truth. You can use OpUtils inventory to track multiple IPv4 and IPv6 subnets and supernets across your entire network. With the help of OpUtils IPAM module, you can manage your IP addresses with ease, And you can mark and control the IP addresses in your network by marking them based on their attribute and utilization. Say, for example, you can reserve certain IPs for static allocation. You can update custom columns for IPs, and you can also be able to track custom details regarding a subnet or an IP. So the next feature we will be talking about is DHCP monitoring. As you all know, DHCP server is an integral part of modern IT infrastructure, as modern networks are dependent on dynamic IP allocation. Hence, it is important to manage and monitor your DHCP server. And OpUtils IPAM module can help you monitor your DHCP server scopes by allowing you to gain visibility into how the individual IPs are behaving and how the IPs are mapped in your DHCP server. We also have a new feature called DHCP MAC filtering. We'll see in the demo in the later part of the presentation. So let's move on to the next feature, which is in-depth MAC insights. So it is important to understand how and where your IP is being used. So with the help of this IP address manager module, you can get detailed insights into the MAC addresses and the IPs that are associated with them. So this will help you gain visibility into the network connectivity details and how the network is being mapped. Now comes the most important part, which is learning how to stay ahead of issues by configuring alerts in OpUtils. So let's say two MAC addresses are competing for an IP, and we call it IP conflict. It sounds simple, but it can result in a huge network downtime, which can be critical for your organization's network. The OpUtils IPAM module gives you a number of alert configurations to choose from, and by enabling it, you can stay ahead of major IP issues. So now let's go to the product and see how these features work. So you are looking at OpUtils demo. So if any one of you would like to try this with me, please open demo.oputils.com in your browser, and we'll together explore the product. Also, for your reference, the link has been posted in the chat panel. So first, I'm navigating to the IP address manager of OpUtils. First thing you will have to do is to discover your IPs into OpUtils console. So OpUtils has flexible discovery options like adding IPv4 subnet, adding IP v6 subnet, importing a subnet from CSV file, or you can also discover IPs by adding DHCP servers. Let's explore each of the options slowly. So now let's see how to add an IPv4 subnet into OpUtils console. For that, all you need to do is click on the add button that's given here and click on add IPv4 subnet. Discovery process in OpUtils is pretty straightforward. And as you can see, there are two options by which you can add IPv4 subnet. The first option is to manually import IPv4 subnet. The second option is to import from a CSV file. So first, let's see how to manually add IPv4 subnet into OpUtils console. All you need to do is, so OpUtils allows you to create subnet groups based on your IP management needs. So you can select one of the groups that you had created earlier. You need to provide the network address, give the subnet a name, enter the description, give the VLAN name. And here you need to select the function that needs to be performed during subnet discovery. Say, for example, while discovering your subnets, you also wanted OpUtils to check the availability of the IPs. In that case, you can check this option. And if you wanted to get device details during IPv4 discovery, in that case, you can check this option, and filling in the right credentials and clicking on add will simply add all the IPv4 subnet into OpUtils console. So all the discovered IPv4 subnet will get populated under this subnet details tab. Next, let's see how to add a supernet. Again, it's a straightforward process. You need to click on add and click on add supernet option that's given here. Here you need to enter a network address. And here you need to provide the subnet a name, a description, and click on next. Here again, you'll be presented with a group similar to the subnet groups while IPv4 subnet discovery. So you can select one of those groups, and all the subnets within that particular group, supernet group, will be displayed here. You can select whatever subnet you want and then click on next. And that is how you add a supernet into OpUtils console. Adding a DHCP server is also a very straightforward process, but we'll see that in a few minutes. So once you have discovered the subnets, supernets, and DHCP servers into OpUtils console, the next step is to navigate between these different group of network resources. So this can be done using the tree view and the donut view that's given here. So the tree view gives you hierarchical representation of subnet groups by which you can track all your IP addresses with ease. And the donut view, with the help of the donut view, you can track these IPs based on their networking attributes like DNS, Active Directory, NIC card type, rogue, OS type, etc. So this is how you can effectively use the tree view and the donut view inside OpUtils. So once you're comfortable with navigating the subnets in the tree view and the donut view, we can move on to the subnet summary tab. So this tab gives you an overall overview of all the subnets and the utilization of the subnets present in the network. So in this page, you can view information like the total IPs discovered so far, the total number of reserved IPs in it, the total number of available transient used IPs in the total number of IPs that's present. Let's see what transient IP is shortly. And you'll also be able to see the subnet summary here. So this is the use of this summary tab. So now let's move on to the subnet details tab. So we can, in this tab, we can visually see the IP utilization. So whatever IP, the subnet you have discovered, you'll be able to see the IP utilization here. And in this tab, you can also see details like the subnet address, the subnet name, the size, and the utilization. You can also see in this total number of IPs, how many IPs are available, the used number of IPs, the transient IPs, and so on. You can also perform an on-demand scan of a subnet by clicking on the scan action button that's given here, or you can also choose to modify or delete the subnets using the quick action button that's given here. Now, moving on to the IP details tab. So in this tab, you can see all the IPs that are tracked using OpUtils. You can see, which MAC address is using a particular IP at the moment. And you can also see utilization status here. So if an IP status is used, it means that you won't be able to allocate this IP to any other device if the status of the IP is transient. So it means that the IP is in its cool-off period and can be used only after it's made available. And if an IP is available, it means that you can allocate this IP for a network device. So you can use the filter drop-down option that's given here, and you can easily filter down used, transient, and available IPs. Or you can also, if you wanted to filter all the IPs that are not scanned, you can click this option, and that is how you use this filter drop-down option effectively. Suppose you wanted to view all the transient IPs at the moment. You can simply click on transient, and OpUtils will display all the transient IPs in your network. Say, suppose by clicking on a particular IP, you'll be taken to this IP snapshot page. So simply clicking on an IP will lead you to this page where you can see a lot of details. Yeah. Suppose if you're wondering how so many information is visible in one screen by just clicking on an IP, it's because OpUtils IPAM is a tightly integrated product. The IP details that you see here come from the IP address manager module, and the switch and the interface details that you see here comes from the switch port mapper module, which we'll be discussing in a while. And the user details that you see here, the logged on user details, the system location, the system description, and all of this comes because the tight integration of OpUtils with Active Directory. This helps you track your IPs and its networking aspects with ease. So moving on. With the help of this IP history tab, you can see the logs of the changes that has happened to IPs and the MAC addresses associated with them over time. So you can leave a description and see what changes have been made to which IP at a particular time. And this alerts tab here will give you alert logs and the cause of these alerts. Suppose there is a DNS lookup failure, or there's an IP conflict, or a reverse or forward lookup failure. All of this you can view. Any event or incident that has happened for a particular subnet, you can view in the alerts tab that's given here. So now moving on to an important part of IP address manager module, which is DHCP server. So as usual, the first step is to add your DHCP server into OpUtils console. For that, you need to click on the add button that's given here and click on add DHCP server. So you need to provide the server a name, and as you can see, OpUtils supports so many DHCP servers. So with the help of OpUtils, you can monitor Microsoft DHCP server, Palo Alto firewall, Linux server, Cisco DHCP, Fortinet firewall. So after that, after choosing your server type, you can associate it with your domain and click on add. So importing a DHCP server in OpUtils is as simple as that. So all the discovered DHCP server will be listed under the DHCP summary tab. So let's click on a particular DHCP server, and the first thing that you'll see is the DHCP summary. Here you'll be able to see details like the server name or the IP address of the DHCP server, the DNS name of the server, the MAC address details, the total number of scopes present within the server, and so on. If you specifically wanted to see the details of the scope, you can navigate to the scope details that's given here, and you'll be able to see the details of the scope within this DHCP server, and any IP that's associated inside this particular scope you will be able to see under the IP address tab that's given here. Sorry. So there's another interesting feature called MAC filtering. So to know about this is a cross-functional feature between IP address manager and rogue device detection. So MAC filtering is a crucial security feature that controls which device can receive IP from the DHCP server. So this helps you prevent unauthorized access, and it ensures secure network. So by continuously monitoring all the MAC addresses entering a network, OpUtils quickly alerts the administrators of the new devices and helps the administrator to block the rogue ones before they even connect to the network. So this automated approach streamlines network access control. It integrates seamlessly with Microsoft DHCP server, and it enhances the overall security. So now let's see how this is done. For this, you need to navigate to the rogue device detection module, and suppose I am the network administrator and I'm alerted that a new MAC address has entered. So if I know this is a rogue device, what I can do is simply I can select this rogue device and click on the three dots that's given here and simply block the devices from the network itself. So all the blocked devices will be listed under the IP address manager module, and in that, if you navigate to the DHCP server, all the blocked MAC addresses will be listed here under MAC filtering feature. So this feature, in simple terms, it means that you are instructing your DHCP server not to allocate any IP address to a rogue device. So this way you can stop the rogue device from accessing your network. So this is the new feature that has been released in OpUtils, and you can make use of this to enhance the security of your network. So we are done with DHCP monitoring inside IP address manager module. Next, let's talk about another interesting feature, which is IP request tool. So for that, you need to go to settings and click on new IP request. So let's say that you have 5 new devices that you wanted to allocate IPs for. So manually looking for IPs that are available and marking them for devices is so much of a headache, right? So with the help of OpUtils IP request tool, you can automate IP allocation and assignments. So let's see how to create a new request. For that, you need to click on new IP request that's given here. Suppose I'm hosting an interview tomorrow for 5 or suppose say 3 candidates. I'll enter the number of IPs that I want is 3. The purpose is interview. The location is Zoho. Department is the sales. And here I'll be provided with all the subnets that has 3 available IPs. So I can choose the IPs from which subnets from which I can choose the IPs. So here in this list, you can choose the preferred subnets, and the available IPs in this particular subnet will be listed. So I want 3 IPs now. So I'll click on all the IPs that I want and click on next. Here I'll be presented with the IP request preview page where I can preview the details, and when I submit, this will be raised as a task in my admin's console. So for me, it will be added as a task under IP request tool. So this is how IP request tool works, and it will simplify IP address allocation without the headache of IP conflicts. So this is it about IP request tool. So next, let's move on to the dashboard. OpUtils provides you a centralized dashboard for tracking all your modules. So similarly, we have one for IP address manager. So here you can see graphical representation of top 10 subnets with occupied IPs, top 10 groups with occupied IPs, IP availability summary, and so on. Any detail or event that is happening in IP address manager will be listed under this IP address manager dashboard here. So you can also create a customized dashboard for yourself. For that, you need to click on the add button that's given here, click on dashboard. I can create a new dashboard to say OpUtils new and give a description and click on next. I'll be presented with all the widgets inside IP address manager. So I can click on a particular widget and click on next. If I do that, I'll be presented with a preview page, and here I can associate roles for the, so basically the admin will have access to all the dashboard that's been created. Suppose you're creating a custom you have a custom user, and if you wanted to create a dashboard which is visible only to them, in that case you can associate a customized dashboard with a particular user, and when you click on create, a new dashboard will be created. So creating a customized dashboard inside OpUtils is as simple as that. So this is a very, very brief overlook into IP address manager module. And if you have any doubts about this module, please reach out to us, or you can post your queries in the chat panel, and our panelists will be happy to answer. So let's take a quick recap of what we saw in IP address manager module. We have seen how OpUtils allows a flexible IP discovery. We saw how you can manage and track your IP addresses using the tree view and the donut view. We also saw how OpUtils advanced IP scanner can help you fetch real-time insights in your IPAM data. We saw about the IP request tool, the IP history alerts. We also talked about DHCP monitoring, and we saw about the newly released MAC filtering feature, and we also talked about dashboard widgets. So let's move on to the next part of the presentation, which is switchport mapper. So IP address management and switchport management go hand in hand when it comes to managing a network address space, because can you actually imagine manually tracing network cables to track and manage your switch ports? It's very, very difficult, right? And it's almost impossible when you have a huge network and multiple devices connected to multiple switches. So with the help of OpUtils switchport mapper, you won't need to trace cables, as it provides end-to-end mapping and scanning of switch ports. OpUtils helps you track complete connectivity details of the access, trunk, and switch ports connected to multiple MAC addresses. It also has capabilities that will help you visualize your switch ports through the ports view feature. And OpUtils also displays critical metrics that needs to be tracked for your switch ports. And these metrics aid in comprehending the utilization of resources within your network and how these resources are being mapped. And this module identifies switch issues such as port flapping and looping by proactively monitoring your switch ports and sending you alerts through emails or syslog when something goes wrong in your network. Sorry. So now let's go back to the demo and see how this feature works inside OpUtils. So for that, we need to navigate to the switchport mapper module. Switchport mapper module inside OpUtils. So again, the first step is to discover all your switches inside OpUtils. But before that, if you can see, the console view is very much identical to the IP address manager module, right? We have the tree view and the donut view. So the tree view provides the logical grouping of switch ports here, and the donut view provides the networking attributes of these switch ports, right? So first, let's discover the switches as a thumb rule. So adding switches into OpUtils console is again very straightforward. Click on the add button that's given here and click on add switch. So as you can see, there are three options through which you can add switches inside OpUtils console. The first one is to add the switches manually. The second option is to import from the CSV file. And the third one is to discover the switches, bulk number of switches. So first, let's see how to add a switch manually. You need to select the group name, and then you need to provide the switch a name, and then ping and see if the switch is available, and then you can provide the relevant credential here. And again, you need to select the functionality which needs to be performed during a switch discovery. And after that, you need to click on add switch. So adding a switch manually inside OpUtils is as simple as that. Next, you can import directly from the CSV file. For that, you need to click on import from CSV, and here you need to upload a file that's in a particular format that as specified in the sample file. And then when you browse and select it from your internal folder, you can select the file and then upload it, and then you can select the relevant credential and click on import. So adding a switch inside OpUtils from CSV file is very simple. Now, if you had to discover bulk number of switches, you can enter the start and end IP addresses here and select the relevant credential and click on discover. So once you have discovered, all the switches will be listed under the switches tab that's given here. So moving on, the summary tab, it will help you get an overview of all the switches discovered into the OpUtils console. It helps you get information about the switch summary, like the switch count, the total number of ports, the available ports, the used ports, the transient ports, and it also gives a graphical representation for the switches that are from different vendors. So this is it about the summary tab. And if you wanted to view summary of a particular switch group also, you can do that. So next we have the switches tab. So here you can see the list of all the switches that are available. It also gives you information about the IPs of the switch, the DNS name of the switch, the utilization of the switch, the scan status, and so on. If you wanted to perform an on-demand scan, you can click on this button that's given here and quickly perform an on-demand scan of the switches. Moving on, we have the ports tab. As you can see here, some of the ports are color coded. So what does it even mean? So these colors represent the networking attributes of these ports. Some of these ports are connected to multiple MACs, which are represented in yellow. Some of them are stacked, which are represented in gray. And if you see any of the port which is represented in orange color, it means that these are the ports that are connected to virtual IPs. So by clicking on the more option that's given here, so you'll be able to see multiple MAC addresses connected as end device to this stacked port. So here you'll be able to see information like the connected device details, the MAC addresses, IP addresses, the DNS name, device type, and so on. So clicking on a particular port will take you to the port details, where you'll be able to see information of this particular port, the connected, like the interface, the port number, and so on. So this is another important feature of OpUtils. You need to navigate to switches and click on a particular switch. And here you need to navigate to the port view. So this is important part of switch port mapper module. So this feature will help you visualize ports connected to MAC addresses. So simply hovering on over a port will give you information like the interface name, interface index, the port number, the status, the MAC address, and IP address connected to this particular port. So this is one of the important features that will help you visualize ports inside OpUtils console. So next, we have a few other features like import port details. Now, let's say that you have a few ports that you would like to manage and monitor. So instead of adding a switch directly, you can import the port details. So you can do that by clicking on the import port detail option here, and you can click on browse and import the file and click on import. So importing ports directly inside OpUtils is again very simple. So next we have the port history and the alerts tab, which is very much similar to IP history and alerts. So we have this port history tab. This gives you history of how the ports are detected and the device change information. We have the alerts to keep you updated with the alerts generated inside Switchport Mapper module. So again, you also have dedicated dashboard for Switchport Mapper. So you can view events specific to switch ports inside this OpUtils console. So this is it about Switchport Mapper module. So moving back to the presentation. Let's again take a quick recap into what we have seen so far in Switchport Mapper module. We saw how to get started with switchport mapping by discovering switches using three straightforward discovery options. We also saw how to view connectivity insights, utilization metrics, the port visualization, the port history alert notification, and we also talked about the dashboard. So now let's move on to the next part of the presentation, which is rogue device detection. So this module is designed to enhance the security of your enterprise network against potential threats, and it saves it from unauthorized or malicious devices. So it is challenging task for network administrators to manually track and monitor every device that enters a network, especially the enterprises that implement bring your own device policies that have IoT devices, and those organizations dealing with shadow IT. They'll need real time monitoring to prevent security breaches, right? So this rogue detection module incorporates Active Directory integration, which automatically identifies all trusted devices within your AD environment. So this feature serves to distinguish legitimate devices from the rogue ones. So with OpUtils, you can gain precise control over your network by assigning authenticity tags to your network devices. So in cases where rogue devices are identified, you can promptly block access to your enterprise network through the associated switch port, all at the click of a button. So this eliminates the need for manual cable tracing. So it is important to know that some attackers use sophisticated methods such as ARP spoofing to gain unauthorized access, and OpUtils has got you covered in this aspect as well. So the tool continuously scans ARP entries and enabling the identification and prevention of spoofing attacks and ensuring the integrity of the network. So let's go to the product and see how this capability works inside OpUtils console. Again, you have a very dedicated module for rogue detection. So unlike the other modules where we'll have to go and discover the resources inside the OpUtils console, say in IP address manager module, we have to go and discover the switches, IPs manually. In switchport mapper module, we had to go and discover switches. The other method is to manually import DHCP server, or you can simply add a router and import all these resources inside OpUtils console. But without any action, as you can see, there is a preloaded MAC list that's present here, populated here. So how did this get generated? So OpUtils will scan your network in real time to generate this list of devices. So it basically scans all the network devices such as a printer, router, and it populates this module with all the MAC addresses from different modules. So this is how the rogue device detection module populates MAC addresses inside this module. So now let's say that you have number of trusted devices which are neither present in your Active Directory nor in your network, but you wanted to add them to OpUtils rogue detection module. So you can do that. You can add the trusted devices MAC address that you wanted to import by clicking on the import MAC address details that's given here. You can upload the file and import a trusted device MAC details. So all the discovered devices will be listed under this discovered category that's given here, and all the trusted devices will be listed under trusted category rogue devices under rogue category, and there's also one category called guest. We'll address this shortly. And all the devices in your AD will automatically be classified under trusted. Now, after adding these, marking these devices, you can view or inspect the devices by clicking on a particular MAC address. So, by simply clicking on this MAC address, you'll be able to see details like MAC address, the IP address, sysoids, and so on. It also gives you information of all the switches through which the device has communicated, the associated MAC address, the port number, and so on. This will help you understand if there's a rogue connection or that if there has been a rogue encounter or not. Since this is a demo setup, we do not have any records here. Now, let's say that you are hosting an enterprise level workshop. So in that case, you will have to allow some guest devices to enter into your network premises, right? So you can mark these devices as guest with the validity period. So all you need to do is, suppose these are those newly entered MAC addresses inside my network. Through router scanning and all, this devices gets added inside rogue detection module. So I select these details and click on three dots that's present here, and simply I can mark it as guest. In that case, what will happen is it will ask for a validity period. I can enter the date, and then when I click on add, it will get listed under the guest category that's given here. Now, we'll also provide a description as in like till which period this particular device can access my network. Suppose the workshop is extending. In that case, what you can do is click on that device again, and you can extend the validity period using this option that's given here. And again, so now this enterprise workshop has been it's over, and even after this workshop is over, if this particular device is accessing your network, you can simply select this device and click on the three dots as given here, and you can simply block or unblock switch ports, or you can also use this MAC filtering option wherein you can instruct your DHCP server not to allocate any IP address to this MAC device. Okay, so this is how the guest category works inside rogue device detection module. Now let's say that rogue device is trying to infiltrate. In that case, you can simply select the device and then click on the three dots, and you can block the switch port itself, or you can go a step further and block the device itself from accessing your network. This is it about rogue device detection module inside OpUtils. Yeah, again, I missed the dashboard part. So click on the dashboard and click on the rogue device detection. So as you can see, you have you can view the recently discovered, the trusted, marked as guest, and the set of rogue devices in your network in the dashboard. So with the help of rogue device detection, you can make sure that your network is secure from unauthorized devices. So this is it about rogue device detection module. Again, let's take a quick recap of what we have seen so far. We saw how OpUtils rogue detection tool automatically discovers rogue device discovers the rogue devices, how to manually import devices into the module, how to mark devices as rogue, trusted, and guest, and we also saw how to view connectivity details and to remotely block or unblock switch port, or go a step further and block the device itself from accessing the network. Now let's move on to the next module, which is networking tools. So these set of networking tools allows network administrators to simply carry out day-to-day network tasks within the centralized console. So these set of tools helps them to drill down into the various aspects of the network apart from IP address and switch ports. So as you can see, we have 4 network tools inside OpUtils. So first one is bandwidth monitor. Next, we have the config file manager. We also have network monitor and another unique tool, which is Bake on LAN. Let's see each of them simultaneously in the demo. So as you can see, you have dedicated tab for networking tools. So first, let's talk about bandwidth monitor. So the bandwidth monitor allows you to monitor your network's bandwidth usage. So by adding an interface, you can monitor the device status, the interface speed, the volume in, the volume out, the utilization, the last hold value, etc. So you can click on a device, and here through visually represented graphs, you'll be able to see the amount of traffic that's come inside your network, that's gone out on a monthly level, and a summary of the traffic data and all. You can view all of this inside the bandwidth monitor tool. And next, we have the config file manager. So this tool inside OpUtils supports managing the configuration of Cisco devices. So you can use this tool to view, backup, and restore configuration file of different Cisco devices. So all you need to do is to click on the configuration file, and it will let you monitor the configurations changes made in the Cisco devices. So we also have network monitor. This will help you monitor critical network devices. So it will help you monitor the availability and response time. One second. So yeah, it will help you monitor the availability and response time with automated periodic polling. Next, we have Wake on LAN tool. So this tool will help you perform wake-up routines on a group of devices that needs to perform scheduled tasks assigned by the IT administrators. So all you need to do is click on the device that you need to wake up, and you need to click on the wake up button that's given here. You can also scan them on demand using the scan action button that's given here. So this is it about the networking tools. Moving on. Now let's talk about OpUtils network toolset. So initially we would have told we have 30 plus networking tools inside OpUtils, and this OpUtils toolset helps the IT administrators perform different set of networking tasks within a centralized console. So we have 6 different groups of networking tools, starting with ping tools to detect connectivity issues, the address monitoring tools, that will help you resolve MAC addresses, run DNS lookups, and monitor DHCP scopes. OpUtils has network monitoring tools to run network scans, update system details, and gain insights about the network nodes. It also has SNMP tools like MIB browser to monitor SNMP devices, Cisco tools to monitor Cisco devices, and other networking tools to run queries, view syslogs, and monitor traps. So let's take a look at these tools in the console. So here you have something called toolset. Click on that. So you'll be able to see 6 different groups of toolset inside OpUtils console. So by clicking on any of the ping tools that's given here, you can choose to run a ping scan, SNMP ping, proxy ping, or even trace route to understand how the devices are being mapped inside the network. So next we have the suite of address monitoring tools. This will help you resolve MAC addresses, run DNS resolution, or it will even help you perform DHCP scope monitoring. Another tool here is the MAC IP list that will give you a list of all the IPs and the MAC addresses that are currently mapped in your network in real time. We also have the network monitoring tools. So most network administrators would quite be familiar as network scanners and port scanners are a vital part of network monitoring in modern IT infrastructure. So we have the System Explorer. We also have TCP reset tool and the system details update, which allows you to remotely update the system details of your, of the devices in your network. So moving on, we have SNMP tools. So the SNMP MIB browser helps you run quick SNMP operations. We also have SNMP graph, SNMP walker, the community checker, and trap receiver. All of these tools will help you manage and monitor SNMP enabled devices. We also have Cisco tools, the Cisco device scan and device explorer, that allows you to gain visibility over your Cisco devices, like IP address of the Cisco device, the name, the description, and so on. We also have other tools like WMI query, the CLI query, the forward trap, forward syslog, and syslog viewer. So this suite of network utilities will help you, will prevent you from switching between multiple small tools, and will also help you save time and effort by consolidating the data and doing the calculation. So this is another value added utility inside OpUtils. So moving on to the next part of the training, which is schedules, reports, and alarms. So first, let's see what is a scheduler and why do you need this schedule option. So the simple reason is to automate network scanning and update real-time insights on IP addresses and MAC addresses. So using an on-demand scanner every time to scan your IPs and MACs is such a headache, right? So with the help of OpUtils scheduler option, you can set up custom scan at preferred intervals for specific network resources. Similarly, you can schedule scans for your routers, Active Directories, IP address manager, switch port mapper, and so on. So now let's see how to schedule scans for IP addresses. All you need to do is go to settings. Under IP address manager, you have something called scheduler. Click on this. So all you need to do is click on the add task option that's given here. You can set that. You can set a task name. Then you can select the subnets that needs to be scanned periodically. You need to mention the time or the duration. You need to automate your schedule by specifying the time here, and then you need to click on save. So the request that you have created will be added as a task under this scheduler option. So let's move on to the reports part of OpUtils. So reports are indispensable part of any network management because reports will help you have clear documentation of the network change information. So OpUtils generates valuable and diverse reports of IP address manager and switch port mapper based on the monitored resources. So OpUtils also has an audit option to check who is making what changes to the console. We also have a scheduled reports option through which you can schedule reports. You can generate on-demand reports anytime you want by clicking on the CSV or the PDF file option that's given inside the console. So again, you have a dedicated tab for reports where you will be able to see all the reports under IP address manager and switchport mapper. As discussed, we also have scheduled report options and audit option. With the help of this option, you'll be able to see who made what changes to the console. And with this, you can track any changes happening inside OpUtils console. Now let's move on to the next part, which is alerts and notification. So alerts and notification are vital part of network monitoring as it allows you to proactively monitor your network so that you can look for a fix when or before an issue happens. So with the help of OpUtils, you can configure alerts and stay ahead of issues such as IP conflict, ARP spoofing, reverse lookup failure, etc. So when an alert is triggered, you will receive instant notification via syslog email, and you will receive a notification even inside the console. So let's go to the demo of OpUtils to see how we can set up this. So all you need to do is go to settings. Under IP address manager, you have something called configure alerts. Click on that. So as you can see, OpUtils has predefined alert scenarios like IP address conflict, DNS reverse or lookup failure. Also, you can set threshold for utilization-based thresholds for IPs and subnets. So in the same way, you can also configure alerts for switch port mapper module. We have one for rogue device detection module. So suppose a new device is detected, it will alert you through mail, or you can also set up to alert you through syslog. So this is how alert configuration work inside OpUtils. Let's move on to the next part, which is user management. So to make sure your network integrity stays in place, you have to make sure that you define who has what level of access inside your network. So also you do not want to limit the efficiency by giving limited access to users. So OpUtils role-based access control tool can help you create customized role for different users and team members based on their domain. So we also have predefined administrator and operator roles, which you can take advantage of. The admin has the predefined administrator role has read and write access for all the modules inside inside OpUtils, and the operator has only read access. So enabling effective user scoping and defining role-based access control for your team members will help you specify which user has what level of access to the monitor resources and OpUtils capabilities. For that, all you need to do is go to the demo, click on settings, and here you have something called user management under general settings. Click on that. So as you can see, OpUtils has administrator and operator role. Suppose you wanted to create a custom user role. Click on the add role, give this user a name. Suppose you can name him as a visualization user, and inside the common settings you can give the read and write permissions for the dashboard and report, since he is only going to visualize. And here you can give read and write access for the modules that this admin is responsible for. And when you click on save, this particular role will be created. And then after creating the role, you can go ahead and create user profile for this particular user. For that, you need to click on add role as given here, and here you need to select the custom role that we have just created. And then you need to associate that particular user's email ID. And then when you set up an account, you'll be able to effectively create a user profile for that particular user. So this is how user scoping works inside OpUtils. Next, let's move on to the next part of the presentation, which is why do you need OpUtils for your network? So with so many IPAM and switchport mapping tools in the market, why should you choose OpUtils? So OpUtils is simply powerful and super easy to use. All you would have to do is download the product, upload your resources into OpUtils console, and get started in a few minutes. And the best part is it does not even require a huge learning curve. So OpUtils has a centralized dashboard and widget to get visibility into the crucial data that you're monitoring. And the best part of the dashboard is that you can customize it according to your monitoring needs. OpUtils can automate network scanning, which means you won't have the need to perform an on-demand scan to keep the console updated with real-time data insights. So this increases productivity and it reduces the time consumption required for performing network scanning tasks. So OpUtils has more than 30 network tools, so you don't have to switch between different tools to manage and monitor your network. So we also have in-depth utilization reports and instant alerts to keep you updated with real-time insights of your network nodes, which will help you monitor and troubleshoot issues with ease. So OpUtils has a super effective IP address manager, DHCP scope monitor, switchport mapper, a rogue device detection module, and so on. So all these modules are integrated with each other and will give holistic visibility into your network address space. So it will help you run advanced IP scanning, IP address tracking, the end-to-end switchport mapping, and it will also help you simplify your DHCP monitoring. So another part is that OpUtils helps you secure your network using the rogue device detection and the MAC filtering feature. So this protects your network integrity by allowing you to define user management control for your team members. We also have mobile version of OpUtils so that you can perform network management tasks on the go. So you can also integrate your iOS and Android phones to your on-premise deployment and monitor your IP address space anytime and any place you like. So that's about it. So this is a very brief demo on OpUtils capabilities under general circumstances. Suppose you would like to get a personalized demo or you'd like to clear your doubts or queries on OpUtils, please reach out to us and our product experts will clarify your doubts and help you set up OpUtils for your enterprise network. So thank you for joining the webinar.